8:01 on a gorgeous Monday morning. Welcome to the Mornings with Ed show on the all-new Voice of Laguna. Delighted that you're with us. A lot of stuff happening this week, and today we'll tell you more about that later on. Don't forget Dr. Anita Wong stepping in at 11 o'clock this morning. But as we do each and every Monday at this time, we love to welcome an artist, a very, very creative artist, to step into the Artist Corner. And today it's John Santoni from John Santoni Photography, an award-winning photographer out here in California, currently working in an exploration of the idea of Earth's desire to recover and reclaim itself from man's exploits. We've literally crapped our way into the oceans. John is in to talk about his art and more than that. But we welcome for the Artist Corner, John Santoni. Good morning.
Morning, Ed. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you here, finally. I'm glad we were able to work out the time and the date.
Yeah, at last.
First of all, thank you for caring about the Earth. First of all, as I look at your work, and we'll talk about some of the specific works of yours that are. I'm going to ask you about your eye. I mean, where you spot this sense of beauty, but I want to jump right into. Our lack of care for this planet and how that drives you. And as I see your work, it's beautiful, and you show some of the most magnificent life that there is.
Thank you.
But at the same time, the rest of us are just crapping in the ocean, as I always say. Where's that juxtaposition for you? Where do you find that beauty?
Well, I guess the motivation behind my work is... The overarching theme is that we have become sort of unremembered our connection with the natural world, as ancient cultures still retain some of that. We've lost that, and that's what I'm trying to put across. I want people... The work is strange and unusual because I want people to stop on it and think about it and contemplate it. And but yeah, the ultimate theme is to try to get a philosophy that is more in line with a symbiosis between us and the natural world. Like you say, we've crapped our way into the ocean.
We really have. We really have. Some of the images that I see in your photography, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting a few feet away from me, I find it hard to take my eyes off of.
Wow, that's awesome.
It is. Well, it's you. I got very little to do. I do. I find myself. And yesterday, as I was going over some of your art, I'm like, yeah, man, he finds that thing that we all gather around. I'm curious as to when you, as you're walking down the street, as you're walking up the beach, whatever, what do you see first? Do you see shapes? Do you see colors? What is it that catches your eye first?
I see a sort of the beginning of a composition of something that makes a bold statement with gravity that I'd like to put across, and then I'll often say it's here in Laguna Beach. I'll often visit that location multiple times. Early in the morning, I'm always isolating myself and working in silence, and that's also what I'm trying to put across in these images, is that I'm watching these earth changes happen,
right.
Or even Earth's thoughts, if you will. You know, I try to get myself into a little bit of a fantasy mode before I create these images.
You use the term silence,
yes.
And I'm glad you use that term because there are a lot of your work. I hear the silence.
You hear this? Oh, that's great.
You do, and I find that so rewarding as a viewer. I'm not a consumer of art. I don't know anything about art, but I know what I like.
Yeah.
And that I can feel the silence.
I'm so glad that comes across because that's definitely an important thing to me. I keep telling people, this is for your meditation room, you know.
Right.
Put this image up and just kind of let it do its work for you.
Soak in it for a while. I like to soak in it.
That's what I call it, silence baths. When I go out in early morning to the middle of the desert somewhere, just bathe in the silence.
Right. I'm curious as to the technique, if you will. Is there a difference in sizing? Like, for instance, you see giant things like the Big Rock Prayer, or the face of Zion, or the Zion face.
Yes.
Giant images. Is your mind working differently when you shoot something small, something much smaller? And there's a part B to that question that I'll ask you after
Okay,
this.
I think I don't know that there is a difference. To my beginnings in photography was commercial, and it was still life in the studio, and I'm almost applying some of that. It was a very slow process in those days. We didn't have digital, big camera with the hood over it,
Right.
and I'm using some of that process out here. Even though I'm using a quick camera, I'm slowing everything down and taking the time, to make something I really want. I'm not capturing. I'm making something, and then, as you can probably tell, afterwards, some manipulation.
Right.
I'm sorry, part B. I forgot.
No, that's okay. Part B. Before that, though, when you mentioned the hood over and the old school camera with the hood over, I'm thinking of myself standing in front of an Olin Mills cameraman and taking that picture at the family shot with.
Oh
that.
yeah, 4x5. Film.
Yeah, there's a subtlety, and I mentioned both the Big Rock Prayer and the Zion Face, and even though they're huge, this is the part B. Even though they're huge images, within that huge image are the beautiful crevasses and the Big Rock Prayer, for instance. That's an image that I woke up with this morning. I saw it last night. I saw it yesterday afternoon, and I woke up and I thought, that's just an amazing image. Walking up to that image and capturing it, describe that scene for me.
Okay, well, there again, in that environment, you drive out to this place, across the desert on the dirt, and you get out of your car, and the silence is overwhelming, because, like you said, you can hear the silence. The process of that was just, I love that rock. It's a very famous and historic rock. But then my model, there's a little tiny model. So that's another element when I do put people that kind of ties into this. They're usually very small in the large,
as we are, all small in the large scheme of things. Right.
Part of the message.
Right.
I guess.
I noticed and much like both of those, and I mentioned the crevasses that I love, you have and I'll just call it a shot for lack of a better term. You have a shot of something called low tide. And there's the subtlety of combed sand in that low tide. That's where I couldn't take my eye off of. I'm a little OCD, so it caught me, and I stayed there. And it looked like just the perfectly combed sand from nature. As the wave pulls back, we all know the ripples in the sand, and it could have been space. It could have been
a little abstract.
Right. It was just so well done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, applauding you, man.
That's one of the things about being at the ocean early in the morning that you get to see that you wouldn't see it even at sunset. There's this silvery reflection on everything, and it's just magical just in itself, just looking at it. And a lot of these rock formations that I see people are stepping over every day, and they don't, and I wouldn't either, but they can be really things of beauty, and they can help me tell my story. Right.
When did you get your first camera, and when did you know you wanted to be a photographer?
I was kind of late. I took photos from 8 years old. I was really into it, and then when I was into skateboarding, I was doing a lot of sports photography, shooting skateboarding and things like that, and in high school. But then, never really thought of it as a career until early 20s. Right. Went to school at Orange Coast with these legacy instructors from the old days. The students of Ansel Adams and Minor White were my teachers. Right. So I got that legacy, that knowledge and wisdom from them.
And people that learned from Ansel Adams, you learned from them.
Yes.
What is it about the Ansel Adams eye that catches you?
Well, he was very unique in the fact that before he even conceived or pulled out the camera, he knew what it wanted to look. He wanted it to look like the finished product, with pre-visualization, and then he figured out scientifically how to achieve that. So he had exposure techniques all the way to the film, all the way to the darkroom, all the way to making the print. He was manipulating all it was old time Photoshop,
Right.
and he figured out how to make it exactly how he wanted to. It was a lot of work, but yeah, that's one of the things that I appreciate about him. Is
Right.
it was unique at the time.
Right, and I'll buttress that up with this, and I mentioned it to you before we went on air. You have a shot of a beautiful landscape, and in the center of that shot is a suspended slab of concrete.
The monolith.
Yeah, tell us about that, please.
That was another one of those situations. Hiking out onto this dry lake bed in Borrego. It was off season out there. There was just no people at all.
Right.
So it was right at sunrise, just after sunrise, and it's one of those places where you lose spatial disorientation. You lose a sense of space. You're walking on this flat lake bed toward these mountains, and they never get any closer, and you never get anywhere.
Right.
And I didn't even know. I knew this thing was out there, but I didn't know where it was. So I'm roaming around on this. So I finally got to it, and it just looked like it needed to float. It's a structure out there that they used to bomb during World War II.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things that, we extract, we build things, and then we just leave them out there. Everyone thinks of the desert as just a wasteland, and you just
Right.
leave it out there. But it's a beautiful thing in its own way too.
Right. Yeah.
Sculpture.
And juxtaposed against the landscape, it's magnificent.
Great, thank you.
It brings life to it. There is life to it, even though it
That's
was
great.
Even though it was bombed for several years. Right?
Still there, still alive.
A lot of your a lot of the shots are just they're beautiful, much like that landscape, much like the sun in the V formation of the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious though, would you ever be compelled to take shots of the plastic barge that's out on the ocean, just the
Right.
pollution, the
Right.
nastiness that we,
Yeah, that
the
definitely
crapping in the ocean?
to show,
Yeah.
explicitly what's going on. That's definitely crossed my mind, and that's not the message I want to put across. I've always been a little cryptic in that way. I want
Right.
it to be a little more figure it out, but I definitely want to get the message across, and I see optimistically, I see the younger generation starting to move that way. I don't think it's about banning materials. I think it's about losing taste for
Right.
plastics and pollution.
Are we moving there fast enough?
No.
No, not even close. Right. So the formation I was talking about with the sun and
Yes.
the rock, that's called Bridge Fire 2.
That was during the bridge fire of 2024 on, I'm on El Mirage dry lake bed, and so I'm on the back side of the San Gabriel Mountains looking back at the bridge fire, and it was just creating this, the light, the color, and everything that was going on, and these pyramids were out there, and it just struck me.
Right. Was it accidental? Coming upon it was coming upon it accidental?
The moon and the pyramids.
Well, the entire
the
shoot.
Scene. I wasn't. Totally forgot the fire was going on when I drove out there, and then
Okay.
as I'm getting close to that area, I think probably a bad day to come out here, but
Right.
it turned out to be good.
Right. Smoke from a distant fire often makes the sky quite beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately so.
So does mercury and arsenic, Ed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Captain Downer over here, man. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry.
No, that's me. The Diver Dawn right here in Laguna Beach.
Right there.
Where exactly is that?
It's right in the middle of Divers Cove. There's a rock that, like I say, that's one
Right.
of those ones that you just walk by every day. But being that it looks like a sunset, but it's dawn, and very rarely does it look like that.
It looks like a painting.
I've heard that.
It is
Thank you.
exactly like a painting.
Now, keep in mind, these are not straight out of camera looking this way.
Right.
I am manipulating these images.
Right.
And with no
Yeah.
shame.
No.
I'm not hiding it, but there is
Nor should there
quote-unquote
be.
painting going on. Like in
Okay.
that image specifically, the color in the sand, in the wet sand in
Right.
the foreground, I'm taking it from other areas.
When you manipulate a beautiful photograph of some kind, and once the manipulation process is complete, do you think to yourself, "Oh, maybe I like it better raw"?
Very rarely does that happen because I've made this big commitment already with the thing, and this is what it has to be. So it becomes like a baby. Sometimes they look, a lot of them that, I hope that they look like almost like film, and that they did come out of the camera. I don't want them to look slick and retouched, but yeah, I mean, once I start on that, the problem is, when do you know you're done?
Right. Okay. All right. So do you have a tendency maybe sometimes to over manipulate?
Yeah, I will hit the brakes and knock a couple of layers off that I had put. That happens. For
right.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure.
You can get a little happy with that stuff.
Right. So you're at the Art Affair through next week. It's over on the 31st.
Through this coming Sunday, the 31st. Yeah, we're open every night until 8 p.m. and on Sunday we're only open until 6 p.m.
Okay.
But we'd love to see people come out over this last weekend.
Okay.
A lot of great art.
And people that walk by your booth, and I imagine much like me, just stop and gaze for the longest time. I mean this in the best possible way for the consumers of art, the people that go out. Are we generally, the people that stop by your booth, are they knowledgeable about what they want to see, what they know, or are they like me and go, yeah, you know what, I just know what I like?
Generally, like you.
Okay.
Yes. Like what we're talking about here is very hard to get across in a passing visitor to an art festival. That's why I really appreciate that, to get to talk about this stuff.
Right.
But, yeah, it's you can't really go that deep.
Right.
You have to give the elevator speech,
right.
And I'm not a salesman, so it's there and people appreciate it. I'm getting a lot of great feedback.
As you should.
Very few people want it on their wall.
And I find that
it's okay.
I find that almost implausible.
Well,
yeah,
you're going to get a free print, my friend.
I'll take it.
Yes.
I'm shameless about that. I will absolutely take it. And do you find that same kind of beauty that you do in nature in humanity? Do you see the physical specimen of a human body, and can you photograph it with the same fervor that you do nature?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I could for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially with my current and recent past working process.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, I have a project in mind that's going to be people.
Okay. And much like I couldn't give you the top rock song of all time, you're not going to give me this project, are you?
It'd take more than the remaining time we have.
And when you set out to photograph,
yes,
do you have a plan in mind when you go somewhere? Do you already have that, like as you're driving there, or do you already have a plan in mind?
Yes, I do. Painstaking planning, digital scouting, if you will, using Google Maps, looking at tides or moon phases or sunrise or how the clouds are going to be, and then I make the plan and I jump in the car to execute the plan, and I arrive to location and everything is completely different, and it turns into something else usually, and it's great.
Right. Do you personally have a preference of desertscapes or seascapes, or?
Those are both very similar to me in that sense, and I like to split my time between the two. Those are sort of my main subject, ocean and desert, and I'm looking forward to getting back in the desert because I don't like to go there in the summer.
Right.
But yeah, fall, winter, and spring are my good for ocean also. Right. Much better.
And you mentioned not wanting to go to the desert in the summer, and I get that. It's 120 out there, for God's sakes. But is there?
I still will.
Okay, well, that's the question, because I was going to ask if there are atmospheric differences in the summer that you simply cannot capture in cooler weather.
Absolutely. That applies all year round.
Okay.
Tracking and getting a handle on that. I'm just starting to get a handle on the changes of the sand seasonally, and it's amazing how huge the changes are from season to season. Aliso Beach all the rocks will be under sand, 6-7 feet tall. Summer comes around, all that sand goes away.
Right.
Just keeps repeating. I love that kind of thing. Those
Right.
cycles.
And the rocks themselves, magnificent in their shapes and different. We do have this magnificent bastion of art here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everywhere you look.
Right. What hangs on your walls at home?
Some prints from Michael's probably in the family room.
Okay.
No fine art.
Right.
Definitely in my office. I have it all plastered with my stuff. So a lot of my older black and whites,
Okay.
landscape stuff. None of this new stuff.
Right.
But that's going to change.
Black and white. I'm fascinated by in particular, your black and whites. What do you see differently in black and white that you don't get in color?
When I left commercial photography and started doing other things for a job, and then I sold all that equipment that I was using, and I got a rangefinder, very simple camera, and I said, I want to shoot high contrast black and white. Like, I was thinking back to this old style thing. So that's what I was aiming to do, and that's what I did. So it was, very harsh lighting usually, and so I would have very deep blacks, and that's something that just goes with black and white to me, and it works for me. It's pretty extreme, but that speaks to me. But all the new stuff is color. Everything that I'm doing right now currently is color.
You mentioned mercury earlier.
And arsenic.
Yeah, mercury and arsenic.
Good mix.
In our atmosphere. When you shoot the moon now at night, let's say you're shooting a full moon now.
Okay.
Is it different than 20 years ago, shooting the full moon? Have we changed? Has humanity changed our atmosphere so much that it looks different to the eye?
That's a great question. I'm not qualified to answer that. I don't know. I would imagine there are some changes. I would say it should be pretty obvious that from 200 or 300 years ago,
Yeah.
it's cumulative. We've added a lot to it.
Yeah, we have.
Enhanced.
I remember when we used to get all over my sisters and my mom for using the Miss Breck aerosol hairspray. Hey, you're killing the ozone here.
Fluorocarbons.
Yeah.
I went to elementary school in Los Angeles. Many days, no recess, no playing outside.
Yeah.
You could see it in the sky.
Right. Does smog make for
Beautiful sunsets.
It does make for beautiful sunsets, doesn't it?
Well, we don't really get to see anything without smog, so we don't have any reference, unless maybe after a storm, the day after a storm. Otherwise, we're always in smog. You have to go someplace else, like Highlands or Hawaii or something, to see. That's what no smog looks like.
Right. Zion, is it still as magnificent as it ever was, or are you noticing some changes in Zion?
I haven't been recently. Those are from a few years ago, but it's one of those places that's just the most magnificent as far as changes, like policy changes or
no changes within the cleanliness within the environment itself.
Again, I don't have enough experience to speak to that, but I hope not.
Yeah. Likewise. Likewise.
I mean, currently there are going to be things that are under threat. There are going to be national monuments that will be under threat in this administration, and hopefully that'll be turned back around again.
Right. Agreed. 1,000%. And your depiction of Zion and what you chose to shoot is magnificent. It is, and thank you for that. When was that shot? The Zion face.
The walls.
Shot. Yeah.
2017.
Okay.
It was kind of that was when I made that move to get out of commercial and go, and I just went off. A little bit of a midlife crisis moment, and just kind of went off, drove off, and pulled into Zion or spent the night somewhere and then pulled in there early in the morning and did the quick hike up Angel's Landing, and that's the one to do. So once you're about halfway up, the walls are right there, like right close to you, and the cataclysm that you can see, the scrapes and the what happened to form these mountains, these walls, it's breathtaking.
I couldn't take my eyes off it.
Yeah.
I told you that as you walked up, man. I just
Wow.
absolutely could not move my eyes from that image.
I'm designing your whole gallery right now of your prints that you're going to have up.
Yeah, and without revealing your next project or anything, what are you doing next? What happens after the 31st when the art affair closes down for the summer? What are you doing?
I'm going to seek out some other shorter term festivals because, like I say, I'm just starting with this, so I want to get as much exposure as I can, and then definitely as summer's ending, this is when I start getting back to shooting, and I want to continue the trajectory that I was on before this summer season started. I felt like it was a little disrupted, so I want to get back to these projects that I'm working on right now. This Earth Dreams, I feel like none of it is complete. I want to get some sort of closure on those and then move on to the new project that I was telling you about that I won't tell you about.
Okay, right, right. And I get it. I absolutely get it. I know that it's all different. I know that it just depends on the individual project you're working on. But let's say you take a shot. You snap a. What's the length of time between that and the finished product of what happens? You know?
That varies. It could be same day. It could be a couple of months later. If I'm in a period where I'm doing a lot of shooting and I have all these files and sometimes I'll get stuck on one thing and then I'll totally forget what project 1 was in those 6 that I did. You know, so then I'll go back a month later and go, oh, you know, that happens sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, it varies. But I generally spend up to a week or so on an image. Sometimes I'll go back. You know, it can take time.
Right. I want our listeners to fully understand before I ask this next question of how magnificent this next image is. And you got to check him out. You go to his website, go to John Santoni Photography. We'll get the address for the website in a second. But integration, that is the one that I just could not stop. Integration is...
Integratron.
Integratron, I'm sorry, Integratron.
Yes.
It is everything. It is landscape. It is sky. It is clouds. There are subtleties and there's starkness in it. Give me that shot. What was happening?
That is that's near that giant rock out in the desert, and there's a desert road, and that is looking from the backside. I don't know if you've ever heard about the Integratron.
No.
It's a geodesic dome that a man in the 50s built. It was going to create longevity for humans.
Okay.
It's a long story. But being in that location and seeing the cloud formations and that little white dome building just amongst this stark desert landscape, that was pretty much a capture, and I didn't really do anything to that except for, you know, mess with the contrast or whatever, but that's an Ansel Adams thing for me. That it doesn't look like one of his photos, but that's him. That's my little Ansel Adams tribute.
Right.
That really black sky with the white clouds.
Right. Yeah.
Stark contrast. That's what I was going for. You know.
It's incredible.
Deep blacks.
It's an incredible shot, and
thank you.
Magnificent for catching it. You use alternative processes sometimes. Pigment emulsion images are first printed onto a transparent film.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that to us, please.
That's just a little like a side.
That's a bonus
that I do for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. I print the photos onto sort of a film.
Right.
And then you coat a wood panel with sort of this gel emulsion, and then you transfer that film image onto that gel emulsion. It lifts off of there and it stays onto the wood, and what you get is sort of this textured, weird, painterly, imperfect image of the photograph, and it's on a wood panel, so it comes off kind of like a painting or like a canvas, you know. And yeah, it's just fun to do. It's just something that I like experimenting with. They're for sale. I haven't sold any. It's not like my main focus,
Right.
but it's
But
fun.
they're fantastic.
Oh, thank
They're
you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Where can our listeners go if they want to purchase your art?
My art is available on my website, johnsantoni.com, and my Instagram handle is @SantoniPhoto.
Okay. And for the next 7 days, you'll be at the art affair.
I will be there. I would love to have visitors come and talk about my art, and I can create any kind of custom order for you or anything you'd like
Right.
of my pieces.
All right. Let's not make this the last conversation we have. Let's have you come back here sometime, and when you're done with your next project
Yes.
that I can't know about
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
come on back and let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
All right.
I would absolutely love
John
to.
Santoni in this morning's Artist Corner. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thanks so much for having
I
me.
appreciate
Have
you.
a great day.
8:32 the time, 28 minutes before 9 o'clock. It's the Mornings with Ed show, and it's the all-new voice of Laguna.